Hello everyone, David and Karen of Film Courage here. With us today are the husband and wife powerhouse team behind Joke Productions, Joke Fincioen and Biagio Messina. Together they are crowdfunding for the incredible documentary Dying to Do Letterman about Steve Mazan, who learns that he has incurable liver cancer, dedicating his life to living his dream, performing stand-up comedy on The Late Show with David Letterman. Now, the documentary, Dying to Do Letterman, follows Steve's incredible, often heartbreaking, and ultimately uplifting 5-year journey. Steve's advice to everyone is live your dream or die trying. So thank you, Joke and Biagio. Hello.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's so great to be here with you again. And I just want to say for the record, we attribute a lot of the success we've been having with the movie and with the campaign to our appearance on your show. You guys got the golden touch. Thank you for finding us and following us on Twitter and telling people about us. You are very high on our list of thanks. And I think you already know, but you're one of the very special people that have a special thanks in the credits of the movie now. And it was our honor to give that to you because you've done so much for the indie film community. And thank you for being awesome.
Oh, thank you very much.
Wow.
Well, I mean, that's, wow.
Yeah, that's quite a way to begin this exchange. It's really tremendous what you two are putting in. We have seen some sort of Film Courage peeps, but there's a lot more that a Joke and Biagio and Steve Mazan and Denise Mazan peeps, and it's wonderful to see it all come together.
Thank you.
So first off, you guys were doing a live stream, one of the latest live streams we've seen, like 11:30 or something like that last night.
Stupid for movies, yeah.
It was late.
Very late, yeah.
Way past my bedtime.
How late were you guys up last night?
I don't think we got home till like 1.
Yeah. It was a special.
And we live right around the corner too.
Yeah, that's that show. It's produced from Streamin' Garage. Mike Rotman. He's a great guy. We met on Twitter. Yep. He was on the front cover of Video Maker magazine last month, and he actually streams these live productions from his garage. True indie spirit. And Stupid for Movies has quite a following. He's had like Colin Hanks on there, and all sorts of people that are far more important than us. And so we were just so thrilled when he asked us to be on, and it was the Harry Potter episode. So I think it's already had something like 38,000 views. It's crazy.
Oh, wow.
It was a pretty popular.
It was a lot
episode.
of fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Very cool. Well, we know the two of you are extremely busy right now. You're in the middle of a 60-day crowdfunding campaign, already well blowing through the $37,000 goal. And,
yes.
Well, when we spoke to you a couple months ago outside the Film Courage studio after our radio interview, you told us about this dream of trying to get Dying to Do Letterman nominated for an Oscar. So tell us about the dream and tell us how DocuWeeks answered this prayer.
Wow. Do you want to take this one, honey?
Sure. Well, the O word, as we're calling it.
The big O.
had been mentioned a few times by some audience members that we'd seen in our festival goings and our screenings. And while tremendously flattering, I think what a lot of people don't understand is that it's quite the process to even qualify before you can even get nominated. It's not like they just pick a couple people and they're like, okay, you're nominated. You have to submit to qualify, and that includes a 1-week theatrical run in LA and a 1-week theatrical run in New York, and that's quite expensive. And so, what our plan had been, let's do a slow rollout, we'll build our audience slowly, and we'll just do the festival circuit this year, and we'll think about the O word next year. Well, part of our submissions had been DocuWeeks, and they're on without a box just like a lot of the festivals, and it's $100, and we're just like, oh, whatever, let's try it.
We'll take a shot. And what DocuWeeks is, for those of you who don't know, it's run by the International Documentary Association. It's sort of the most prestigious way for a documentary to qualify because every year they invite less than 20 films, and past documentaries to come out of DocuWeeks include Born into Brothels, Taxi to the Dark Side, Jesus Camp, last year's Wasteland, 17 Oscar winners and nominees over the last 10 years. So it's like, we thought we're never going to get in.
So we figured, no way we're winning the lottery, but you can't win unless you play. So we submitted and then kind of forgot about it. And then all of a sudden, we got a phone call. We were actually in Chicago for the Just for Laughs festival when we got this nice phone call saying, you're in. And we're like, "Hurrah!" so excited.
I think brah sums it up pretty well. I was screaming louder than that. I lost my voice for nearly a week. I just, because I'm already a loud talker, I was a loud screamer like for 7 days after we heard we were in DocuWeeks. So.
Right. And so what the IDA does through the program that they have called DocuWeeks is they make the cost of, having your 1 week theatrical in New York and a 1 week in LA, and you have to have certain advertisements with that, and you have to have certain press stuff that happens during that time. It's all very detailed and technical, and there's a whole checklist. And the IDA helps us get through that process and reduces the cost tremendously because they take these 17 films this year and kind of help spread the cost across the board, and they're able to make deals that we wouldn't be able to make and all that kind of stuff. So they help independent filmmakers qualify. And so while there's still a big cost to us, it is less than half of what it would have been without the IDA. So
yeah, and also it doesn't. I mean, it's the prestige factor. Like again, we never thought we would be able to be mentioned alongside names of films like those. I mean, when you hear about these huge documentaries that come out and. Honestly, we kind of thought the documentary world just didn't like us. I mean, we were told by a lot of people who'd seen the doc, you really should have taken on the healthcare system, or you should have, gone deeper with, the world of cancer. And we were like, but that wasn't Steve's journey. Like, we were never following a story about a man trying to change the system or a man whose life was really affected one way or the other by the fact that the healthcare system is the way it is. He was a guy chasing this dream. So we thought, well, is that really the way it is in the doc world? Like, are we really going to be just, told we're not a real documentary because you don't take on an issue?
If you look at the last couple of years of documentaries, a lot of the big ones have been kind of policy documentaries that are looking to either change policy or to influence policy or to bring attention to a bad policy that needs to change. So I think that, we ran into some of those reactions where like, well, you're not that. You're just an entertaining little movie, and that's not quite what we think of as documentary. But in the International Documentary Associations, to their credit, they've come out this year and said, we want documentaries. There's all kinds of documentaries.
There's a lot of ones a lot of great documentaries in DocuWeeks this year. It's so many different kinds, and it made me so happy because it made me go, yes, there really is acceptance for all kinds of docs this year, and I'm so proud of DocuWeeks. And after not getting into some of the bigger festivals early on, we thought, well, this is going to be an uphill battle, but this has really turned the tide and scared the hell out of us. So now it really kicked us in the butt, so we had to crank things up. Because it's not easy to chase an Oscar. It's very expensive and very difficult.
Well, so...
Oh, I'm ready to jump in there too. Go ahead,
so what was your plan B if you had not gotten into DocuWeeks? What would have happened?
Well, that was plan A because we thought we weren't going to get in.
Yeah, okay. I mean, plan B, what was exactly plan A, and it was just doing a slow rollout. It was building our audience through, screenings, festival screenings, meeting with people, Twitter, getting the word out, building our mailing list, building everything, and then depending on how we were able to roll it out we were going to reevaluate in the spring of 2012 to say, okay, are we going to do an Oscar run because it's a lot of money, or are we just, going to do a few theatrical screenings ourselves, like in Cleveland or Chicago, where we know we can get some people because Biagio's from Cleveland and Steve's from Chicago and those kind of things, and then just, do the DVD. And we've had interest already from distributors for, the DVD and the digital rollouts. So it's, the only thing that's kind of been going is this idea, this dream of getting into theaters and getting it to people in the theaters. And
we did have two offers for small theatrical distribution, but the offers were it was so early on in the process of the film, and they wanted to own so much of it and own so much of Steve that it just wasn't worth it.
We would have lost control over the movie.
We would have completely lost control. And we're like, why do we put 6 years of our life into this movie to hand it over after 1 month to somebody who may put it on a shelf or can, the contract says they can do whatever they want with it. So all the way along, obviously from following you guys, Film Courage, I think we actually learned about Kickstarter because of you guys, and we funded some terrific campaigns over the last year and a half that we've heard about through you and others. Julie, Jessica, and Phil with Tilt. Obviously, Lucas McNally's Year Without Rent. Gary King has had, with how to, I always screw up the title because it's so long, but How Do You Write a Joe Sherman Song? I probably still got it wrong. I apologize, Gary.
How do you write?
I did fund it though. I did fund it. Just can't pronounce it. You know, and we really loved the Kickstarter community, and we always thought, well, could you really like launch a Kickstarter campaign to put a movie in theaters? Like, could you say, look, we finished the movie, now you help us get it in theaters? And that was what our plan was for 2012. And then DocuWeeks hit. And really, a week in New York and a week in Los Angeles is one heck of a way to kick off a theatrical run. I mean, you really can't start bigger than that. So we said, okay, this is the time. We were really scared. Joke will tell you we didn't sleep for a week trying to figure out how to do this Kickstarter campaign. We read every article we could possibly find. You know, we just, and we're still learning. Every day we're reading more about how to keep it going. And we thought, well, we hope maybe we make 3,000 or 4,000 our first week. And we made 10,000 our first day. You know, 20,000 in the first 48 hours. And as we closed out week one, we were at 40,000 and over 400 backers, and we are so grateful. And people have already seen me cry, so I won't do it again. But we were just bawling and could not believe the incredible support that's come out. And really, with practically no press, we had a really nice IndieWire article that came out. We were on the front page of IndieWire, but that was really after we'd already broken 30,000. So, I mean, it was just love and support from people who we met on your show, who we met on Twitter, on Facebook,
on the festival circuit.
On the festival circuit, like, just coming through. And we have 7 weeks to go. So we're shooting for the moon right now. You know, I think we've told you guys we love John Reese and his book, Think Outside the Box Office. And so right now our goal is to raise enough money in the next 7 weeks to actually follow the plan in John Reese's book and do a small theatrical rollout coast to coast. And yeah, that's what's going on.
Okay, well, let's go into more detail on some of these topics and issues we're bringing up here. You know, first off, going back to before going back to the sleepless nights before you launched this campaign. You know, you two are probably busier than any other two or any other duo we can think of. Aren't you guys too busy to take on something like this?
Yes. And that was a huge kind of conversation we've had, because part of our quote-unquote plan B, you know, that we were just going to wait till next year was we knew that if we wanted to qualify for an Oscar this year, we had to do it by, I think, the end of August or September, something, you know, whatever. We checked the Academy rules. It was then. And Steve and Denise and us sat together and we're like, we're all so busy this summer, we just don't have time to do it. So let's just keep going with the small rollout and, you know, gathering steam, and hopefully by the spring, you know, we'll have more time and we'll have a bigger database and we'll just go bananas on it. Well, then DocuWeeks happened. So we're like, well, we have to make it work now. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. And it's been pretty crazy. Steve's been out traveling and, you know, performing stand-up comedy. Denise just had a big open house at her studio, so she's been busy planning that. And, you know, we obviously have the shows that are currently going. So it's been some long days and long nights. But we've...
all credit to Joke. She's being modest. She's pretty much taken the brunt of the shows. You know, we're working on Commercial Kings on IFC right now, which is Fridays at 10, and we're still wrapping that up. And we're shooting Caged, our new documentary series for MTV. And again, these aren't like huge, ginormous budgets. These are still very tight, and usually that would take all of our time. So Joke has somehow managed to juggle those while I've, you know, really managed to launch the Kickstarter campaign. You know, I mean, we've done both together, but I've taken the brunt, and she's had to be without me. Steve gets back later tonight, so he's going to start running now the Kickstarter campaign probably for the next week. We'll still obviously be a part of it and be popping up and, you know, putting as much time as we can into it, but we've gotten to the point where we've almost sort of, you know, broken things over here, and so we need to fix that. And but it's worth it, you know. I mean, listen, at the end of the day, between 50 and 100 documentaries will qualify for an Oscar this year, and they have a 1 in 100 shot. You know, even though that's still long odds, to me that's still once in a lifetime, you know, odds. And
I mean, at the end of the day, like, we can't complain, right? We hit our goal in a week, so we didn't sleep for that week, and I felt like I was addicted to some kind of drug, constantly like refresh. But, you know, now it's like, okay, great. Now we can kind of let Steve take the second rollout with this and really have, you know, it's good. We're a team. There's 4 of us. So to be able to hand things off when need be helps a lot.
It was hard with just 2. And so now I feel like we're so thankful to our immediate network. Obviously, anyone who's been following us on Twitter has seen a flood of tweets, and we're dialing back on those now. You know, our goal now is we have some interesting plans for the next 2 phases of the Kickstarter campaign.
So going back to the research that you did, you said you read some articles about various successful campaigns. Take us through kind of the science that you went through. Like, did you actually kind of chart and look at at what point they hit a certain amount? I mean, was there all that kind of focused research in it, or did you just kind of watch videos and glance at things?
Yeah, no, it was pretty focused. We very carefully, I did. I read through as many analyses of other campaigns as I could because we wanted to do it right. You know, to me, this had to be a win-win for everybody, not just for us, not just for Steve, but also for the people that were kind enough to support us. Like, I wanted to make sure that they were going to feel like by supporting it, they weren't just, oh, we're going to help the movie, but they were going to get something back too. I really wanted it to feel like, hey, we're all in this together. And so it was sort of, number one, figuring out from a big picture how to achieve that. And number two, you know, just like little tips and tricks to make sure your campaign took off right. So for instance, some of the things I followed very, very carefully. A lot of campaigns don't have a $1 prize. They don't have a $10 prize, you know? And so I want a reward. I'm calling them prizes. I haven't slept, but a reward. And so I wanted to make sure that anybody who wanted to pledge could pledge $1 and get something. And because of the unique, you know, the unique aspect of this movie with Steve being a stand-up comedian, being able to give, you know, an MP3 for $1 is what you would buy it for on iTunes about, you know? And for $10 to be able to get an entire album of every joke he sent to Letterman, we thought those seemed like unique rewards that people might respond to, you know, and not have to pay a lot of money to. So that was some advice we followed. A lot of campaigns that have failed started like at $25 or $50 and had no lower ones. You know, another thing that we had read was don't assume that the people who come to your Kickstarter site know what Kickstarter is. And I thought that was great advice because most of the people who've seen us at festivals, a lot of them are over 60 and have never even, you know, barely used their email, much less visited a site like Kickstarter, you know, and just a lot of other people who haven't heard of it. So in crafting the text for the page, wanted to make sure that we tried to give a really easy explanation on the page of how to succeed, you know, how to use Kickstarter and what it was. Another big piece of advice you see everywhere, and it was something we put a lot of time into, was really work hard on your video, and put yourself in your video, you know. And Steve actually didn't want to be in the video, believe it or not. And I was like, you are going in this video. I am not doing a video asking for support and not putting you in it. And he just thought, well, doesn't it seem weird? Like, won't people like think like, oh, why, you know, I'm like, no, you need to be in the video. So, and then within the video, applying the same things, letting people know that the movie had already had some success, what's known as social proof, as we've read on a few different sites. So including, you know, some critical reviews and the standing ovations was important to let people know that people were already giving the movie its stamp of approval. Another thing that was very important with the video was not to go too long. And Sherry Candler actually watched the rough cut of our 9-minute version of the video and thank God said, cut that thing in half. Probably the best move we made. Some other advice we actually took not from Kickstarter specific advice, but just from like web surfing advice in general. One of the things that I see a lot of Kickstarter campaigns do is there's so many links on the page that take you off the page. You know, like click here to learn more about the movie and it goes to the site, or click here to see a video and it goes to YouTube. And one of the great things about Kickstarter is that you can post these daily updates that work like a blog. So any single time we wanted to give more information that we couldn't fit on that front page, we tried to write as an update on Kickstarter. That way when people clicked over to learn more, because you know, people get distracted, they mean to donate, but they get dragged off, something happens. I wanted to make sure that they still had the opportunity to pledge while learning more about the movie. So I tried to make everything link to a post on the Kickstarter page itself, so you can learn more without having to go away or surf away and remember to come back later. And I think that's turned out pretty well too. Another thing, by the way, am I boring you guys? I'm just going off because this is like so much.
No, we're learning stuff from what you're telling us.
Yeah, you're making it easy for us.
Oh, good. You know, another thing that was really important, you know, is regular updates. And I think the one thing that we have failed at so far, and I will say failed, it's a big word. I don't think we failed, but one thing that we're trying to do, and we hope to do more, that we did early, is to have separate updates, one for backers and one is for backers only. So we have an interview that we shot early on, and part one, anybody could see, And then part 2 was for backers only. So anybody who pledged at least $1 could see the rest of the interview. And we actually have 4 more interviews already shot that we're editing right now, where there'll be part 1 will be for everyone and part 2 will be for backers only. That way people who are backers get a little extra added value for having believed in us and trusted us. And people who aren't, if they're interested in the project and they give as little as $1, they can see exclusive content that you can't see anywhere else. So I think that having that for backers only part 2, early on, I think that helped a lot with getting more people in. And then we just got so busy, we couldn't finish the videos. So we have a lot more of those coming in weeks 2, 3, and 4 of our campaign. And so that's like a little handful of tips. I'm planning on putting out a whole list of everything we learned soon. But I think those were the big ones. And I think I've talked for like 5 minutes straight.
He was studying so much and so hard for this that it ended up being where he was getting like conflicting advice, and then he'd come to me and we'd talk about it, and we had long conversations about, you know, what number to pick, and you know, what is our goal, because we're like, well, even if we get half of what it's going to cost, and that'll help. And then people were like, no, ask for more, and that was scary because if you don't make it, you don't get it. So we're like, oh my god.
Yeah,
that was a big conversation. And 30 days versus 60 days was huge. You know, everyone says 30 days, but we have so much press lined up for, you know, the end of August and beginning of September because of DocuWeeks. So we're like, well, do we use that press to help get more money to get the movie into theaters everywhere? It was, I mean, you know, who knows if that's the right decision or not, only time will tell, but it's just been, it's, you know, it's scary. It's very scary.
It is. I will say in the numbers, that was a big thing, right? Because we knew credit cards, you know, getting through DocuWeeks was going to be up around 37,000. And so we were originally going to ask for 17 because we thought, well, you know, we're already putting our own money in, but the fact of the matter is we weren't going to be able to do the movie justice at DocuWeeks with 17, even with our credit cards. We're like,
well, it costs more than that because we have to get a special print made that the Academy approves, and we need to take special ads out, and we need to have, I mean,
it's travel, the street team. So we knew that we wanted to do it right. And so we thought, well, let's ask for 37, but explain in our video. And it's one thing, you see a lot of campaigns, what they do is they hit their goal, right? Early on, so the campaign's been lucky, and then all of a sudden they have to rejigger their whole campaign because they're like, well, we asked for this, but we really need this. And, you know, and I think sometimes people think it's a little disingenuous. It's not, just people are excited because they reached their goal. And so what we wanted to do is one, address that right up front. And so from the very beginning in putting together our video, we wanted to explain, listen, while all we're asking for is 37 because that's the bare minimum we need to get to DocuWeeks, our hope is to far surpass that because every dollar we raise over that means the movie comes to even more theaters. So, and we just thought that if we were honest with people and just said that, and that's, in Kickstarter, you know, you get it all or nothing, and so we're asking for the bare minimum, but we're hoping we make more, we thought that people would tune in with that. And like, she really summed it up with the length of days, man. Everybody's like, 30 days is the sweet spot, don't go past 30 days. We thought, well, if we get lucky and we have a good start, a good week 1, and all this momentum builds, why do we want the campaign to die in 30 days, with 30 days of us being in front of audiences, you know, doing all kinds of press? I mean, anybody who goes to the website sees the Kickstarter video, so why throw that away if we get lucky? So that was the one piece of advice that that universally says don't go long, and we ignored it. So we'll see how that works out. I mean, so far it's worked out okay. So, yeah.
Well, yeah, you know, and it sounds like, I mean, if you have a week like you two have had, then you really can't go wrong. I don't think, you know, unless you urgently needed the money. If you need the money right away, then it's stretching out and you're not able to access the money. But in this case, you know, you guys have certainly won out.
Well, that was the gamble, because it was like, if we didn't make our goal, and then, you know, we're floating everything on our credit cards so we get the money, and it doesn't come in. I mean, the campaign doesn't end until DocuWeeks starts, you know, and so it was a huge gamble, but it was a gamble that we
But here's the thing, it's like Monday morning quarterbacking. You look at the last week we had, and you're like, well, we should have done 30 days, duh. But seriously, we had zero clue. I mean, we were hoping for $2,000 that first week. We could have never in our wildest dreams thought we were going to hit 40. Ever, you know? I mean, ever. It's just been mind-blowing. Yeah. So, you know, it's like when we didn't know whether or not we were going to make $2,000 the first week, we're like, well, we may need that 60 days. We may need that press at the end just to even make our goal. So, you know, it wasn't just so we can, you know, go above and beyond and get to 100,000 and put the movie in theaters everywhere. It was just like, can we get to 37? So we were really, we were thinking like, we'll be at DocuWeeks going, I know you just paid for your ticket, but do you mind giving us some money? Because otherwise, we're going to pay for you to see our movie.
Let us tell you what Kickstarter is, before we start this Q&A.
So, the fact that we've been so tremendously blessed in this last week, now it's easy to go back and be like, what were you thinking?
Yeah.
But, we were thinking it wasn't going to happen.
And I can't say it enough times. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Film Courage. Thank you, everybody. And I'll say it 10 times during this interview. I never want you to think that we don't know how lucky we are. How to be accepted by the community like this. We know, and we are grateful, and we're going to spend the rest of our life giving back to this community every way we possibly can.
Well, and on the other end of that spectrum, you guys have made it look too easy. Now there's going to be people that are going to see what you've done, and they're going to be like, you know what? I know I can go out and raise $50,000. I know I can raise $60,000, $100,000, because of how easy you guys have made it look.
I have some tips for those people. It's not easy, and I will say, while it was never my intention when we started blogging 2 years or 3 years ago, whatever it was, to necessarily start a Kickstarter campaign, we knew that we wanted to support the community because we knew someday we were going to need the community to support us. And so we started the blog with the hope of providing valuable information to people. We started, and that was really all we could give. And we started Twitter with the hope of being able to give something to people. And then when we saw the Kickstarter and Indiegogo, we funded projects on both, and we sort of discovered what those were. We tried to support those things, not just because someday we might do it, but because if you want to be part of a community, it's give and take. And so it wasn't like, oh, we better fund them because we're going to need them to fund us later. It was like, maybe someday when we need to ask, the community will remember that we helped. And if they don't, that's okay too, because we're here to contribute. And so I really believe that the 2 years we spent meeting people like you on Twitter and Facebook and blogging, I think that that's why we had the success we did, and I'm so proud of that. And I hope that means that we have been able to provide a little value, and and we're going to keep doing that, as much as we can in the years to come. Even if we never Kickstarter program again ourselves, we're going to keep supporting Kickstarter, and we're going to keep supporting Indiegogo, and we're going to keep writing blog posts and keep sharing. Because that's what being part of the community is about.
But I think another big part of, why it's been so successful is because, the community is fantastic and you guys have come out in droves, and thank you so much. But we also went to the people in our lives and our work and our friends, and like we said, like the people we met at festival screenings who aren't part of this community, who have no idea what Kickstarter is, who know nothing, and, ask them, show them our passion, said, here's what we're doing, any way you can help, and then kind of walk them through the process at times. People were like, what's an Amazon account, and where do I go from here, and reaching out. And listen, it's very hard to ask people, hey, can you give me $1, can you give me $5, but if you believe in what you're selling, if you have the passion, if it's just in your DNA that this is the project, then you're not asking for money. You're asking for people to join the ride, and you're asking for people to come on this journey with you. And what Kickstarter allows us to do by giving rewards, it doesn't feel like we're just, it doesn't feel like just taking. It feels like we're just building a team and building, this amazing kind of Dying to Do Letterman world. That's just kind of exciting and fun. But you have to be willing to do that, and you have to be willing to go out there and it kind of put yourself in a vulnerable position because you're asking and people may say no. And sometimes people don't want to hear no, so they don't ask. But I think what we've proven is if you don't ask, you don't get it. So
we have been very specific about what we're asking for. I mean, we say over and over again, please pledge now. I mean, I think you just have to get past yourself. And nobody wants to ask for money or help. But in the back of our head, we're always like, look, we're doing this for Steve. This is the one shot we have at getting his life story in the theaters. There can't be any ego here. There can't be any, I'm too proud to ask for your help. We just have to put that aside. I don't care what people think about us, and we're going to ask everybody, and we're going to say this is why we're asking. And also, look, let's be honest. I mean, I think that Steve's story is a big part of why people responded to the campaign. I think that if I was doing a little action thriller right now, I don't know that we would have raised this kind of money, in 1 week, and we're very, very aware of that. And
people have also responded to the fact that we've been working on this project for 6 years, and we've put lots of money and energy and time into it. It's not, You know, we're not going like, you know, I kind of want to try something. You want to pay for it? You know, that's not what our Kickstarter campaign is. Our Kickstarter campaign is very much like, here's where we are. We've done everything. We'd love nothing more than for you to be able to enjoy our work. You know, will you help us, you know, get it to a theater near you?
Yeah, I think that attitude too, every meeting we've ever had in Hollywood where we've gone in and they don't know who we are, you know, we always say to them, look, you shouldn't take a chance on us if we're not willing to take a chance on ourselves. And here's all the stuff we've produced on our own dime. There you go. This is us putting our money where our mouth is. And I feel like people respond to that because if you're willing to put your money where your mouth is, then people go, okay. But if you're not, well, why should they take a chance on you? And I think that the community seems to have responded to the fact that we did wait till the movie was done, and you know, and we were receiving accolades before we ever asked for any help because we wanted people to feel good about their investment in us, in the movie, and about what they were getting. So
who do you have on your team helping you push this campaign? It just can't be the two of you, is it? I mean, I know you mentioned earlier that Joke was handling some of the shows and that you were sort of at the helm doing the Twitter. There's no one else?
We've had a little bit of help from my sister.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, my sister Gina, she popped up in one of the update videos, and she's been working really hard to reach out to the cancer community, and that's a little bit slower going, but she's planting big seeds, you know, and she's really... She put us
in contact with Team Lucy.
Yeah, she put us in contact with Team Lucy, who, I don't know if you guys saw that update, but Team Lucy, they sent us a video about how they discovered the movie, and they loved it so much, and Lucy is a young, I think she's 7, she's young, she's between 5 and 7, I don't know her exact age, but she has leukemia. And so we got this thing and we're like, this is amazing. You know, I couldn't believe that they came over and supported us. So when we found out we made our goal, that next morning we announced a benefit screening with all proceeds going to Team Lucy. We're organizing that right now. We're going to have the date soon, but we are putting up a screening, and every single penny that comes in is going to go to Lucy's medical bills or toys or whatever she wants.
Yeah, we're making it kind of a big event because the family has gotten some stuff donated to them that we can silent auction, and so Steve's going to be there, and we're still putting out the details, but where it's part, you know, stand-up and part of the movie, and we're looking for other people, you know, to come on board in terms of, you know, food and, you know, beverage and that kind of stuff, but it's going to be an awesome kind of, you know, fundraising event for her.
Yeah, and we're glad that we can do it for her.
You know, another great aspect of what you two are doing with this campaign, something that we love, you not only have the incentives, the rewards that come along the side, on top of that, you're giving extras, you're giving things away for free to kind of get people involved, get people interested. Why? Why are you doing that?
You know, ethical bribes? I don't know.
I would say that in the time that, you know, when we were nobodies out of, you know, college to where we are now, there have been people along the way who helped us, who gave us things for free, who are like, you know what, here, you know, do this to get started. I believe in you. I believe you're talented. Just go for it. And I think it's one of those things where, you know, it's just a nice thing to do, and it, you know, if it helps people, then great, and if it gets people to decide, awesome. If not, that's okay. You know, it's just something that, you know, we have it's sitting here. You know, well, what are we going to do? Patent it? No, you know, just share it.
Yeah, I was really proud. I made this little, you know, silly little Kickstarter graphic with like the green bar, you know, sliding up, and it took me the better part of a morning. I was like, you know what? I just think a lot of other people might like to use this or stick it in their own projects. And so that was one of the things we made available is, you know, free graphics for your Kickstarter project. And, you know, because again, like she said, it's not like, why should I just sit here on a server and do no good? And, you know, even if people don't contribute to the campaign, you know, even if they just go, because anyone can download the graphic, you know, I mean, it's great because we're giving back, but they're also going to hear about the movie. So I think it's win-win for everybody. We want everybody to feel like they came out ahead. I never want anybody to feel like, you know, we got something over on them or vice versa. And again, one of my regrets, I know it's only been a week, I was hoping to give back even more. You know, I'm trying to put together some more graphics packages, and I had this idea about doing a free, well, it's not going to happen, a free iPhone app, but that's I'm getting crazy now. But we are trying to have a lot more things to give back to the community over the next, you know, the next 7 weeks. And tonight we're going to do a little live, you know, Q&A. I think you guys know, tonight at 6 o'clock. We just figured out how to hook into Justin TV, and anybody that has any questions about anything, doesn't have to be about the campaign. It can be about working in Hollywood or why the heck she married me, or I don't know, anything they want to know. Any burning questions, we'll be here from at least 6 until 7 PST, at least 9 until 10 EST, and we're just going to answer questions for people. It's not an advertisement for the Kickstarter campaign. It's not a telethon. It's nothing except we're giving you an hour, and whatever you guys want, it's all for you. That's what we're doing tonight.
Very cool.
Nice.
Well, let's talk about how launching this campaign has increased your social media awareness. Have you noticed more followers on your Twitter and more Facebook friends to your fan page?
Oh boy, it's going to sound so bad.
checked.
I don't know. We haven't had time to check. And I will say, I think we probably got some more followers, and I think I probably scared some followers away because you all know we've had a few heavy campaign days, and breaking $40,000 and 400 followers in 1 week was not easy. And again, it meant us having to be shameless. And I hate to flood the tweet stream. I hate to flood the Facebook, but we're doing it for our friend. And and I felt if people decide to unfollow us, I understand because we're asking for a lot. So while I think we've gained a lot of followers, we probably have lost a few too. And I'm looking forward to checking that. I will say going on Stupid for Movies was really awesome because they just had Colin Hanks on. And so it's like, oh my gosh, we're no Colin Hanks, but it's nice to be sitting in the same seats, So and obviously the IndieWire, I mean, us as filmmakers, I think obviously we've been noticed more for stuff like Commercial Kings and Scream Queens and Caged, which we're very proud of. But it's not, that's a very separate world than the indie film world, which is what we started in. We started as indie filmmakers. So to finally be in IndieWire and have them refer to us as Joke and Biagio and refer to the movie and write such a glowing review of the Kickstarter campaign, it was just, I felt like that was the first time the filmmaker community at large maybe got to meet us, and it was such a nice way to meet everybody.
I think it was also kind of, the IndieWire magazine thing, it was just amazing. We were just floored, and I think part of what's funny about it, the behind the scenes, is they make it seem like we knew exactly what we were doing.
Yeah, they're like, this brilliantly designed campaign. I'm like,
Really?
What did I... Oh,
We've
good. We did something
agonized
right.
over every detail, and we didn't know. It's, again, it's a Monday morning quarterback, and it's like now looking back going, oh yeah, I guess that worked really well. But when we launched, at the moment we hit that button, we just looked at each other and we're like, here we go.
Oh, we were so nervous. And you were our first, Film Courage, our very first backer number one, Film Courage. It was so great. I was so excited. And I remember we couldn't believe it because in the first hour we raised $200. We put up this video. We were going crazy. We were so excited. $200 in an hour. This is amazing. And then by the end of the day, we were at 10,000 and just in shock. It's been pretty amazing.
Well, I'm curious, who are some of these people backing the campaign? Are these strangers? Are these people that you've interacted with on your email list?
The whole range.
It's very funny because we have, we personally sent out about 600 emails to friends, family, and business associates, people we've worked with over the years.
Even if we haven't talked to them in 10 years.
Yeah, seriously. It was like people we worked with, or at least if I recognized their name, I put it on the list. If I didn't recognize their name, I was like, okay, I can't send this email. And then, so it's very funny, going through our backers list. It's like there's clearly the Twitter community, and there's clearly a bunch of people who heard about it on Facebook and nowhere else. And then, it's like, okay, well, here's everybody that I emailed. Not everybody came and donated, but, a big chunk of them. And, we're like, okay, well, there's all the Mazans. You can see it in their last name. And so, it's been really kind of an amazing thing in terms of, our mailing list, the Dying to Do Letterman mailing list that we build at festivals and stuff,
And honestly, I think that has actually seen the least return because I had trouble. I tried to send a plain text email with MailChimp and ran into a lot of trouble, and I got all these emails back saying the link's not working. So we're going to send out a new email with MailChimp using HTML instead of just plain text and see if we can format the links better. But overall, it's been amazing.
It's been amazing. It's been kind of all over, from everybody. And actually, Steve and Denise, because they've been so busy this last week with their own stuff, they haven't even really hit their whole friends and family and, people from their past. So, we're hoping that, they can start rolling into that in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, which is great because, we're staggering it. And I think that was something we looked out for is we knew, hey, listen, we're going to hit it hard that week one. And then we better have someplace else to go. We better be able to introduce the movie to other communities and introduce the story to other communities because I can't just keep tweeting 100 times a day.
To the same people.
It's not fair to our Twitter stream. And while I felt like, okay, I can do this for a week, I wouldn't want to do that to people for 2 months straight, So it's and the plan is still developing. We've always seen it as happening in phases. And phase 1 was let's get it out to as many people as we know. And then phase 2 is moving out to a bigger community.
Well, that's what I'm wondering. Do you plan to kind of coast now a little bit more because you've met your goal, and the two of you are just two of the busiest people we know. When we think of doers, we think of the two of you. Or do you plan to just keep steamrolling the train? I mean,
no, I think it's different. I don't think it's coasting. I don't think it's steamrolling. I think it's just changing areas of focus. So, this first week was Twitter and Facebook and our mailing list. This next week has been really about, Denise is still not quite available to us, but Steve is by tonight. And so it's really going to be about Steve's whole, his whole connections and his friends and family and people he's worked with. And then we'll probably roll into Denise, next week. And we're also, starting to build just press packets so that we can try and reach out to a more to new communities we haven't tapped into. Gina is working very hard with the cancer communities, and a lot of that is, meeting people and gaining their trust and letting them see the film and know what we're all about, and that we're not just here to, get a quick buck, and and figure out how that's going to work, and to be able to, reach out to those communities. And so I think instead of steamrolling over the same community over and over and over again, I think we're going to give you guys a break.
Yeah, we're going to give everybody a break. I think my goal is to write some really useful, I hope, a really useful blog post, to find some other gifts to give back, and we're hoping that tonight this little live chat is one of those. Stuff that we can just do for the community. And then I think being able to say that we raised obviously $40,000 and 400 backers in 1 week, I believe that that's a press-worthy story. We told everybody that was what we thought would happen, and IndieWire picked up on it before we even got there, which was great. So getting a lot of press, and I think probably towards the end, once we get close to DocuWeeks, we'll probably come back to our community again, and and just remind everybody, listen, we're really trying to follow the John Reese's plan, and we've done all of this with your help, and now let's get it over the top. And I hope that the community will accept us back after several weeks away, having seen the stories and followed what's going on. So that's kind of the plan right now.
Okay, let's put this in perspective. What you have done. Let's go back to outside the Film Career studio, and I guess slow me down if I'm touching on sensitive territory here. but you had distributors look at this film ahead of time, and from what I remember, they weren't necessarily sending you offers that were too much higher from where you are right now. You've done this on your own in 1 week. Have you had time to reflect on that? Have you had time to reflect on what you've done?
Biagio's finger was on the email button to send that information to the distributor, and
she wouldn't let me send it because look, they were very honest. They were very honest.
And by the way, now, even with what we've just accomplished, okay, people are still out there who don't get it, who are saying no. They get their business, but we are not their business. We are not I know this is a Michael Moore documentary, or I know that I can just hit this target group, and, everyone's like, it's a long shot. Yes, I know. That's why we're here. I know, this is probably not international. Yeah, I know. I get it. Well, there's not. Yeah, we know. Don't tell me all the things our film isn't, because we know. What we need to find is someone who gets what our film is. And so that's really where we've kind of, been like, okay, let's just keep holding on to the movie ourselves, because everybody else is giving us a very realistic, and I'm not saying they're pessimists, but if our film was just thrown into the pie, I don't think it would land right. I think that everything they're saying is absolutely true. We wouldn't be making it. We wouldn't see any return on our money. It would just be one more movie that gets lost.
We would just be in the hole forever.
Right. Yeah. It just would just be a movie that got lost. And so we're like, okay, well then let's not throw it out there and hope for a miracle. Let's stay in charge of our own destiny and hold on to the movie and do it ourselves. Slow roll out, long roll out, whatever it's going to take. Let's just. When we're saying we're going to take this movie, put it in a theater near you, it's not going to be Transformers, where it's going to be in 3,000 theaters on Friday. We're talking about saying, okay, this weekend we're in Chicago, this weekend we're in New York, this weekend we're in Phoenix, this weekend we're in San Francisco, this weekend we're, and we're coming with the movie, and Steve's going to be performing comedy in the city, and so that we're keeping we're staying in charge of it, because we know, as everyone has said to us numerous times, that if we just become part of the machine, we'll get swallowed up and spit out, and there won't be anything to it.
Yeah, and so I think that in looking at that, that's why we finally said, you know what, let's just do it this way. It's an indie film, indie distribution, why not? I mean, you know how we feel about John and his book. And
the reason why we feel comfortable doing this...
Oh, what happened?
No, you keep hitting on John's book, and we love it. You know, it's hard not to enjoy it.
Yeah, he's the plugging machine.
I've never even met John. I've never had a conversation with John. I think we've exchanged 3 tweets. All I know about John is he's out of the country.
Seriously, he talks about John's book like was moment we wake up, right before we go to bed. It's awesome. It's favorite. The reason we feel comfortable with this kind of self-distribution model, I guess, that we're kind of figuring out as we go, is because of the responses that we've gotten from audiences. You know, these standing ovations, these sold-out crowds, everybody staying for the full Q&A. You know, if we weren't getting that kind of response, we wouldn't be spending this much time, energy, and money into it either. You know, we'd be like, okay, well, you know, it's all right. It's an average thing, and let's go get an average response somewhere. But because we've gotten such a positive response when we actually showed a film, and then you talk to the machine, which I'm calling them now, and there's nothing wrong with the machine, you know.
The machine. Hey, machine, if you want to distribute our movie in a big way, we're here for you. Don't worry about it.
But we need somebody within the machine who gets how we're different and how do we use the machine to help the movie. And so far, we haven't found that. So right now, we're just kind of working on the outside, and that's fine. You know, again, like, I have all respect for the machine, and hopefully I'll make my own, you know, Armageddon one day, and, you know, we'll be part of the machine and it'll blow up. But, you know, I think at this point, you know, we have to do what's right for each project, and this project right now needs this kind of TLC to make it.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. We get it. Most distributors who distribute documentaries, I mean, think about it. They're in business to make money. We all are. They have to be, or you go broke and you end up destitute. So they have their markets that they market a movie to. And and I think it's a compliment, but everybody keeps telling us the problem with your movie is it just has too much broad appeal. So so what you need to really make this movie work is you need a big, huge release, and we can't do that for you. And I get that, because they can't just go and sell this to 1 or 2 communities. So it's like, I feel like it's either going to be like a DreamWorks or a Universal, or somebody comes along and is like, we're going to make this supersize me, or else the only way it's going to have the life we think it deserves is if we make sure that happens. And so, you know, and by the way, listen,
on the grassroots level.
On the grassroots level. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I love working on the grassroots level. You know, every film festival we go to, we get out there, and it's our honor to go out in the line before the movie starts, shake everybody's hand, thank them for coming to our movie, thank them for spending their hard-earned cash on seeing our movie, and let them know how much we appreciate they're there. And that's not an act. That's not something we do. That's something like I grew up working as a dishwasher, delivering pizzas, you know, bagging groceries. Like, I have worked every crappy job along the way I possibly can. I know what that money is worth to them, and it means a lot to me that they spend their $10 to come see our movie. And we will always be that grateful and never forget that, you know? And I like being out there to thank them. I mean, you would in any other business. Why not this one?
And at the heart of all of this is all for Steve, and it's all for Denise. I mean, can you put into words what this means to the 2 of them?
Oh my God, you're gonna make me cry again. No.
I think, you know, it's something that it's that hard line to walk, because we all know that Steve, he has a disease that's incurable. You know, he has something that can't be treated. He needs them to find a cure for cancer, or he just needs to be lucky. And so far, he's been lucky, you know? I mean, he's outlived his worst-case diagnosis. Some people who had been diagnosed the same time as him have passed away. Someone passed away, you know, on our second screening that day. Someone that we knew, that we had met, that was this just really wonderful woman that was young and full of life, younger than us, and from the same kind of cancer Steve has. And so I think that Steve knows now that his legacy is in place. Like, I think he knows that his family and his kids, and for years now, you're see now I'm gonna you guys know I'm emotional. You know, if you ask the question, you're gonna get me to break.
Is it Lucky Update 13? Is that it?
Lucky Update number 13.
That's the one where we.
That's the one where we're both crying.
If you go to the Kickstarter page on Update 13, that's when we just broke the goal, and we called Steve on the phone to tell him on camera. Oh, I'm getting emotional. It was amazing, and I have said from the very. Everything changed for me on opening night when we showed the film at CineQuest, and we filled a whole theater, And everybody stood up, standing ovation to Steve. And he stood there and he took it all in. And I told Biagio that night, I said, I don't think we will ever be able to give anyone a gift like this ever again. And so to hear him so excited and so thankful to be on this journey, that's just really, you know, you did it. But that's, you know.
We're starting to cry.
Yeah, we're tears here. This is the Joke and Biagio Film Courage moment here.
Yeah, it's just, you know, it makes it all worth it. And that's why when we didn't even know whether he was going to get on, we're in the middle of shooting, you know, we always looked at each other and, you know, sometimes it was hard and, you know, we didn't have money and it's just like, what are we doing? And it was like, at the end of the day, we knew that we would be able to leave something for his family and his friends and hopefully his kids to remember him by. And at the end of the day, that's what it was always about.
Yeah, and I think he feels that way.
You know, we were going to ask you, you know, convince us to back this campaign. I don't even think it's appropriate to ask that. I guess what we're gonna ask anyone who watches this video, go to their Kickstarter page, go to their Kickstarter update number 13, watch that video, and I guess that'll speak for itself. But anyone that wants to contribute to the campaign, how do they do so? How do they get behind this?
It's so easy. You can just go to dyingtodoletterman.com/fund, F-U-N-D, dyingtodoletterman.com/fund, and that automatically redirects to our Kickstarter page. If you forget the / part, just go to dyingtodoletterman.com and click on the giant green button that says "Help us win an Oscar." So it's pretty easy. We made it as simple as we could, and we would love to have any of you that can pledge and, you know, and help us like chase this dream of using Kickstarter to put a movie in theaters, of trying this new model and bringing Steve's story to theaters and letting him enjoy every single day he has left in the spotlight, letting him travel and perform stand-up comedy and come and do Q&As after the movies. We would love to have your support. We would love to have you there. So come and give at least $1, and we'd love to have you. And $10,000 if you can afford it.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
So what lessons have you learned from all of this that you just didn't expect?
I'm 10 minutes late for another meeting,
So she's
going
going to run out. I will take the last question, and I'll jump into the meeting with her after
Thank
that.
you guys so much.
We're going to wrap up in just a minute. Thank you for staying late with us.
Oh, are you kidding me? I'm sorry. She's way prettier than me, and the picture quality degrades when she steps away. But I would say, listen, here are the lessons we learned. When everyone tells you your movie doesn't have a chance, if you believe in it, screw them. Make your movie. Number 2, if you give to the community, I really believe this community gives back to you. Number 3, I would say that, you know, passion needs to be the deciding factor in every project you do. You know, we wrote this recently, and if the movie you're going to make doesn't keep you up late at night, if it doesn't bounce you out of bed in the morning, if it's not something that, you know, makes you laugh or cry or get emotional just thinking about making it, don't make it. Go make another movie. It's way too hard. It's way too difficult to spend all your life and spare moments and resources on a project that doesn't just absolutely make you giddy about making it. So I think those are the 3 big things we've learned, I think, from the campaign overall.
Mm-hmm. And as we wrap up, one of the sort of taglines of your campaign is that dreams do matter. Can you share with us why dreams matter from a personal perspective?
Yeah, I think that my belief, and a lot of people disagree with this, but I believe that the world would be a much better place if we all chased our dreams. Doesn't matter if we achieve them or not. I think that chasing a dream makes you a better person. I think that chasing a dream, you know, gives you the energy and the the ability to enjoy life more, to learn more, to take every experience that you have in life through a different filter. When things are hard and you're not chasing your dream, life sucks. When things are hard and you're chasing your dream, you're just learning lessons and getting better. And listen, I love, I'm so glad that there's so many big policy documentaries. I think they're very important. I think they have to be made. I think one thing about docs is they do and can change the world. And I think that in our small way, our doc is saying we can change the world if we all just chase our dreams, whatever that dream is. So I do. I think that if we all chase the dream, even if it's impossible, even if you never think you'll make it, I think in the end you'll be a better person. You know, they say shoot for the moon, and even if you miss, you'll land among the stars. And I believe that. I really do.
Wow, that's great. Thank you. That's beautiful.
Yeah,
That's
I mean,
beautiful.
there we have it. That sort of brings us to an end here. My feeling is that this conversation that we just had is probably just. I mean, how would you? It's literally one of the most moving, most inspiring, most informative conversations that we've had to date. I think out of everything we've ever done, and I can't imagine if you're crowdfunding, I can't imagine you not watching this from start to finish. We want to thank you, Biagio. We want to thank Joke for sitting in.
Too.
This has been just an absolute, just invigorating start to our day.
Yeah, it really has.
Well, thank you. I can't say enough good things about Film Courage, about your show, about what you do for the community. Guys, you're sitting here watching this. Don't forget, they discovered us. Film Courage put us on the map.
No.
So, yeah, and I with this community, you guys did. And we thank you.
But really, you've put in so much equity, both you and Joke, and really it shows. It's paying off. I mean, just what you've given back is really coming back to you tenfold, and I think that's a lesson in all of this as well. So
yeah,
thank you. We appreciate it.
All right,
and both love you. Kisses from me and Joke, and thank you guys so much. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Biagio.
Thank you. Take care. Bye bye.
Bye bye.